Hey guys, it's Sarah, and I am here today in Raymond to give you a little garden update. Excuse the froggy throat. I've got a little bit of a spring cold, which is, I feel, always the worst kind of cold to have is in the spring when everything's coming alive and you feel like yuck. So anyhow, let's get started. So the view of the farm today is a little bit different than last time I filmed. Everything is turning green. We've already had to mow once and the dandelions are already growing back. Unfortunately, it was mowed before I was able to pick the dandelions. I wanted to try some dandelion jelly that I had heard of. It seems to be going around out there in social media world, and I wanted to give it a try, but the dandelions were mowed. I'll have to wait until they grow back to get enough, I think. We don't use any kind of fertilizers, pesticides, anything like that here. It's all organic, so dandelions are good to go. So I actually have a couple questions for you guys. My grandparents owned this property years and years ago, and it was left to family member after family member. And we have a small orchard, and the orchard has been here since I think maybe the 50s, 1950s, and it's been neglected in the last 20 years or so since my grandparents passed away. And the trees, we're wondering if they are worth saving. A lot of them are starting to look really bad. Some of them have pests, some of them seem to have carpenter ants, but we're still getting fruit, and the fruit is not the best, but I think if we did something to it, to spray it or something, that the bugs would not bother it. But I'd like your input, so comment below if you've got some tips or any resources for us. And here I'll give you a little view of what the trees look like. If you can even make out this poor little tree right here, this is a pear, and if you look closely, the inside of the tree has been hollowed out. Now I believe that my grandfather grafted this tree, and so I'm not sure if this is the result of old age or just where the graft had taken place. We did take off some suckers off this last year, and it looks a little bit better, and we will get pears off of it. And then the one next to it is about the same. It's got all this moss growing on it, starting to leaf out. This one's taller, a little bit healthier. As you can see, things like to make holes in the trees. And then out in the field there is really where the orchard is. And I'm not gonna walk out there today. We haven't mowed out there because our tractor is broken. But the ticks are incredibly bad this year, so we don't want to walk out into the long grass. But most of the trees out there are similar. That first one you see is always healthy, and it's apples. They do get a little wormy, but we're wondering what to do. We've used them for pressing apples before, and not really eating, but we'd like to eat more. So if you have some advice, we'd love to hear it. Here is the garden. Look at that. Everything is coming in. Our greenhouse is almost done. We have poly sheeting to put on the roof, which will be the last little touch, and I can't wait. So I'll go ahead and give you a little garden tour, starting at the end of the garden that I'm told is prettiest. I think the whole garden's pretty, but my family thinks that this end is prettiest. Excuse me. So here's the start of some cucumbers. We're going to try them on a trellis this year. Last year our cucumbers failed miserably, but I heard it was a pretty bad year for them overall. Here's some, I believe it's crooked neck yellow squash. More cucumbers. And these are all peppers. My husband insists on a lot of peppers. Loves them. And then we've got his hot peppers. Now, unfortunately, looks as though somebody dug up one of my garlics that I put in here, so we'll dig that and put it back in. Over on this side, you can see the potatoes popping up. All we had was 2 5-pound bag potatoes, and we cut them up so each one had a couple of eyes and then planted them. So it looks like we're gonna get a lot of potatoes this year. Over here we've got some eggplant, and it was probably a little bit early for us to plant the eggplant, but we got so excited. We just wanted to get it all in the ground last weekend. We've got a number of things coming up where we'll be busy. So my husband built this trellis. It's a little bit odd, let's say, but these are going to be cucumbers, and hopefully they are the climbing type. Hopefully they'll enjoy climbing his trellis. And at the top he used a bike wheel, which we found in the woods here. And then we've got some cabbage, purple cabbage, tomato in a pot that was started from seed. Oh, there goes my water. Turned the water on, but forgot it was running. Well, I guess we'll get a little watering done with you then. So, I come to Raymond, which is an hour away from my house in Portland, Maine, and I come up here about twice a week in the month of May to water. Well, and then we also come up for most of the weekend, each weekend in May. And then once my kids are out of school in the end of June, we'll be here most of the time. So I'll be up watering and keeping an eye on things. We do have some rodents who like to frequent the garden. Actually, they just, let's see if you can see over here, I saw a groundhog the other day leaving the garden as I came in, and he obliterated some of my broccoli. So we'll start on this end of the garden now. Here we have a row of peas, and I'm just gonna let them go nuts. They're always our first harvest, so I'm just gonna let them go crazy right there, and then I'll have my kids dig through and pick them all out. Next to it, we have a whole bunch of different things. Let's see, we've got some purple cabbage, we've got some nasturtiums, I think there's some turnip right there. Butternut squash up at the top. So next row, actually over here, we have tomatillo, which did amazingly well last year. I think I said that in a prior video, but I was just shocked. And we made salsa with it, and we still have some on our shelves now. Over here, we have got some celery, which is fairly yellow, and I think we need to do something about that. We've got some zucchini, and then there were some radishes over here mixed in kind of with the peas. More celery that looks a little yellow. Another row of a bunch of different things. This all has lettuce started from seed. And that just started coming up last week. It's very little yet. And then this is lettuce, romaine lettuce transplants that we had in our greenhouse. Some mixed lettuces there. Actually, this little guy right here is a cauliflower that we grew from seed in the greenhouse, and he looks a little weak, but I think he'll make it once the sun makes a debut. Here's another cauliflower. That one's a little stronger. We just planted this cherry tree, and it's already looking pretty good. It is called a North Star dwarf cherry, and you know, we actually got it from Walmart because we happened to be there, and I thought, ooh, I need a cherry, so we got it. I wouldn't normally buy them from Walmart, but it looked pretty good. Looks like a healthy tree. And this is our plum tree, Rosa plum, and we just planted that as well, and that's also looking good. So now we're inside the greenhouse. I just weed whacked the grass. It was already up to my knees, and we're considering what types of flooring to get in here. I think we're just going to go with the black fabric type of flooring. So in this bed we have tomatoes that we started from seed, and if you compare them to the tomatoes that are outside already, that we also started at the same exact time, these ones are by far superior. Healthier, hardier bushes, greener leaves. We're already getting a few little starts to some flowers there. I've also mixed in some onions that I was afraid were not going to do well because my husband dumped over the tray by accident. So I had to pick up all these little tiny green onions off the ground and then transplant them into the bed. So all these tomatoes. And it's funny, I wanted to see what a squash would do inside the greenhouse, and it's just staying small. We have so much squash though, it's an okay experiment. Here's the outside from the inside. All right guys, so that's just a tour of our garden, and I think we'll do this every week or two, probably every couple weeks, and let you know how things are growing. I think we're off to a good start. Memorial Day weekend is when we usually start planting, so we're a little early this year, but everything's looking healthy. Maybe we need a little boost here and there, but we're on our way. So take care, keep growing, goodbye.